Hello everyone. In the previous lecture, I gave you an introduction to second order systems. So we'll quickly look into the major aspects and move forward. As you can see over here, a standard second order system, it looks like this, where the forward gain path, it has a gain of omega n square divided by s into s plus 2 zeta omega n, and the feedback path is actually unity feedback path. Okay, and here you can see that the transfer function can also be written as you can derive the transfer function from this control system, standard second order control system, and it will be derived as equal to omega n square divided by s square plus 2 zeta omega ns plus omega n square, where this zeta is actually the damping ratio and omega n, it represents the natural frequency of oscillation. The dynamic behavior of the second order system is described using this zeta and omega n parameter. Okay, and also this omega n is actually constant. Hence, what we can do, we can vary this zeta. Zeta value can be varied. So we had seen that we can have 4 cases in second order system, where the damping, it can be equal to 0. That will be case 1. Damping की वैल्यू 0 होना मतलब सिस्टम इज नॉट हैविंग एनी डैम्पिंग, हेंस इट विल बी नोन एज एन अनडैम्प्ड सिस्टम. Second case, when the damping factor, the value lies between 0 and 1. In such a case, the system will be known as underdamped system. If this damping factor, if it is equal to 1, then it means that the system is critically damped, and if it is greater than 1, then the system will be known as overdamped system. So in this first and second case, where you have got no damping at all, then you will see in first case no damping, in the second case system is underdamped. So in these two cases, you will find that the system will exhibit oscillations in it. System will be having oscillations, whereas in these another two, that is critically damped and overdamped systems, there are going to be no oscillations in the system. So there will be no oscillation in the system. Depending upon what kind of system you want to, what is the design parameter, depending on that applications of the system, you decide whether the system should be undamped, critically damped, overdamped or underdamped. So now let's see, now we will be seeing the response of the system when we apply unit step function to it. So here you can see that we have the system where RS is defined. This is the input actually. So what if we want to apply some test input to the system? As I have already told you that in order to find out the nature of any system, you apply test inputs to the system, and the standard test inputs, it includes impulse input, then unit step, unit ramp, parabolic. These all inputs are applied. So the first case that we are going to do is that we are going to apply a step input to this function, and by step we all know that step input means in Laplace domain it will be written as 1 divided by s with the magnitude as 1. So this case we'll be taking, and first of all I will be taking underdamped case. So I'll consider that the system that we are having, it is underdamped in nature, and by underdamped, if I say that the system is underdamped, then we mean that the value of zeta, it will lie between 0 and 1. Okay. Now for a standard second order system, when you look at the transfer function, you see that transfer function is omega n square divided by s square plus 2 zeta omega ns plus omega n square. This system is having no zeros. Okay, there are no values of s in the numerator, and hence there are no zeros in the system, but you can see that the denominator of the system is having the highest power of s as equal to 2. Hence we will get 2 roots two roots of the denominator, and the roots of the denominator, they are actually defined as the poles of the system. Hence there are going to be two poles of the system. In the previous lecture also I have discussed that for the standard second order system, the poles of the system S1 and S2, they are given as minus zeta omega n plus minus omega n under root of z square minus 1. Now in this case, when we are talking about underdamped system, in this case we know that we are going to take value of zeta between 0 and 1. So our value of zeta is going to be between 0 and 1. So if you substitute any value of zeta between 0 and 1, then this minus this value, suppose you have 0.5, so 0.5 minus 1 is going to be minus 0.5, under root of minus 0.5, that's going to be an imaginary value. That's going to be an imaginary value. Hence, how we write this? We can write that the two roots or two poles of the system, they are going to be equal to zeta omega n plus minus j omega n under root of 1 minus z square. This is how we'll write that these two poles that we are going to have for an underdamped system, they are going to be at minus zeta omega plus minus omega n under root 1 minus z square. To get a more clear picture about where these two poles are going to lie, then we can easily do it by looking at the S plane, by plotting the two poles on the S plane. So if I have got the S plane, it always has a real part, okay, sigma, and it has got an imaginary axis that's j omega axis. So on the x axis we have got sigma, on the y axis we have got j omega. Okay, we have to plot these two poles. Which two poles? Both the poles are having the real part at equal to minus zeta omega n. So I'll just quickly do this. So it's minus zeta omega n, that means that the value is lying on the negative real axis. Suppose somewhere here we have got the value minus zeta omega n. So both the poles, two poles, both have the real part as minus zeta omega n. And the first pole, the imaginary part is lying at omega n multiplied by under root of 1 minus z square. Suppose it lies somewhere over here. And mark this as omega n under root 1 minus z square. Okay, and this is for the first root, that is S1 we can take, and for S2 it has got the same real part, but the imaginary part is lying on the negative y-axis. So on the negative y-axis, maybe at this point we can write it as omega n under root of 1 minus z square. This is going to be negative value. Okay, so the two roots, they are lying, the two roots have both the real and the imaginary part. Hence if you want to plot these two poles, then you have to find the intersection point of the real and the imaginary part. So for first root, it's actually minus zeta omega n plus j omega n under root of 1 minus z square. So the intersection point of this y-axis and this x-axis, at this point I am going to have the root, that is my S1. Similarly, my S2 root, it will lie somewhere over here at the intersection of this real and the imaginary part. So here I will get the second root, that is S2. Okay. Now, as we have already discussed in the previous lectures, that if any system, it has got both the real and the imaginary part, then the system is going to have both the oscillation as well as the exponential term. But how it is actually, how can we prove it mathematically, we are going to see it. For that we are going to have, we'll need the help of many other terms also. So here I will define a few more new terms to you. One of the term is known as phi. So I'll define this term phi. Actually the angle, that this angle of the position of this pole from the real axis, I'll define this angle as equal to phi. Okay, I'm going to define this angle as equal to phi. So for this phi, if I'm taking this, here you can see that this is actually forming the triangle. You can see over here, this is actually forming a right angle triangle with angle as equal to phi, with the base as equal to minus zeta omega n, and the perpendicular path having the value of omega n under root 1 minus z square. So what is going to be the value of hypotenuse? You can easily find out hypotenuse value is going to be the summation of the square of these two. So under root of b square is zeta omega n iska square plus the square of omega n under root of 1 minus zeta square. Okay. You quickly do it, then you will find that the hypotenuse will come out equal to the omega n. So this value is going to be omega n. So the value of hypotenuse is omega n. Then if I've got the value of hypotenuse, then I can easily now define what is phi and what was going to be sin phi, cos phi, tan phi. Why we are doing this? We'll need these terms and we'll have a better insight over this topic. Okay, so we can write that from here. If I want to find out what is going to be sin phi is what? Perpendicular upon hypotenuse. Perpendicular is omega n under root 1 minus z square divided by hypotenuse is omega n. These two will cancel, hence sin phi is equal to under root of 1 minus zeta square. Similarly, cos phi is what? Base upon hypotenuse. Base is zeta omega n divided by omega n, hence it's equal to zeta. And what is tan phi? Tan phi is perpendicular upon base. So if I do perpendicular upon base, it's going to be 1 minus z square divided by zeta, because omega and omega will get cancelled. Also, if I want to find phi can be written as tan inverse of under root of 1 minus z square divided by zeta. Okay, I can write, or in terms of sin phi and cos phi also. Okay. Also, we can see that the term zeta is the damping factor, and damping factor is actually being defined as cos phi. Okay, so I can say as the value of phi, if it increases, as this phi will increase, this cos phi is going to decrease definitely, and hence the value of zeta is going to decrease. As I keep increasing this phi, okay, the damping value will decrease, and this the damping value is going to decrease, and if the damping decreases, that means that my system is becoming more oscillatory in nature. Okay, that will become more oscillatory in nature. How? If this value phi, if it becomes equal to 90 degree, if this phi becomes equal to 90 degree, then what does that mean? That I am going to have this pole over here. And if I am having a pole on the imaginary axis, what does that mean? A pole on the imaginary axis means it's going to have an oscillatory nature. And oscillatory means there is going to be no damping at all. And that also we are seeing that as cos phi, cos 90, that means that's going to be 0. Hence we can say that zeta is equal to 0 when we are talking about this point. Okay, so graphically also we can prove it now, and we have known it intuitively also, that when the poles they lie on the imaginary axis, then there are going to be oscillations in the system. And because why is the system having oscillations? Because it is having no damping at all. Hence the system will be behaving like it will be exhibiting complete oscillatory nature. Okay, so these are the few points that I wanted to discuss. Just remember what we have derived from here. We have got that sin phi is equal to under root of 1 minus zeta square. How this damping value and this phi value, these are related. This will be needed when we proceed further. So just remember this. Okay. Now coming back to the point, what we are here for. we wanted to find out the response of the second order system when we are applying input as the step. So that means that we want to find out CS, and CS is nothing but equal to RS multiplied by the transfer function. What is RS? RS we are taking it as 1 by S because we are going to take step input, and the transfer function we have already derived as omega n square divided by S square plus 2 zeta omega n S plus omega n square. Now we are going to solve it mathematically, and please bear with me if you have any doubt even after solving it in detail, then do ask me. Okay. Now here you can see that this is the response of the system in Laplace domain, but we want to see the response in the time domain. So if you want to see the time domain, you can in order to find the inverse Laplace transform of this equation, we'll have to use the partial fraction method. Okay, we'll have to use partial fraction method. So how to apply partial fraction to this one? You can write this CS as equal to A divided by S plus, we have got a quadratic equation in the denominator. Denominator is having a quadratic equation. So for that we write this as in the form Bs plus C divided by S square plus 2 zeta omega n S plus omega n square. This is the form when you have the quadratic equation. This is how you solve the partial fraction. Now you again have to find the same thing. You have to find the value of A, you have to find value of B, you have to find the value of C. So to find the value of A, you can simply do what? To find the value of A, you can keep the value of S as equal to 0 in this main term by ignoring this S. So if you keep S is equal to 0, then it will become omega n square divided by 0 plus, again this will become 0 plus omega n square. These two will cancel, and hence you will get the value of A as equal to 1. So you got value of A equal to 1. Okay. To find the value of B and C, what we can do, we can actually equate the coefficients. What we can do, like I am again writing this, A divided by S plus Bs plus C divided by S square plus 2 zeta omega n S plus omega n square, and this is actually nothing but we are equating this, we are writing this complete term in terms of A, B and C. So I can equate this with omega n square divided by S into S square plus 2 zeta omega n S plus omega n square. Okay, now to find the value of B and C, what we will do, we have equated this, and we will just cross multiply these two. Okay, if we cross multiply these two, what we will get, I can write this as A into S square plus 2 zeta omega n S plus omega n square plus this I am cross multiplying, so it will be S into Bs plus C, okay, divided by this complete term will become S into S square plus 2 zeta omega n S plus omega n square, and on the right hand side I will get omega n square divided by same thing. Okay, so I am writing the same thing. Now of course this 1 by S is over there because the input is 1 by S we have taken. So sorry if I had not written in any of the above equation. So from LHS and RHS, these two will cancel here. So 1 by S, this is also going to cancel. And in the numerator what we have, if I just expand this and I write the terms individually, then I will get one term is AS square. One more term of S square is from here, so I can write it as BS square. Okay. The second term, all the coefficients of S, we can write as 2A into zeta omega n. Okay. Another term from here we can see that it is C. okay, multiplied by s plus a omega n square. This is equal to omega n square. I hope I have covered all the terms. So we have got s square coefficients a plus b. Coefficient of s as 2a zeta omega n plus c, and the coefficient of s to the power 0 is a omega n square plus that's equal to omega n square. Now what we can do, we can compare the coefficients of s square, s to the power 1 and s to the power 0 to find the values of a, b and c. So if I compare the coefficients of s square, on the right hand, in the left hand side we have the coefficients as a plus b. If I compare it with the right hand side, there is no term as s square, hence it can be equated to 0. Already we know that value of a is equal to 1, hence the value of b is going to be minus a, that is equal to minus 1. Similarly, if I want to find the value of c, then what we can do, we can equate the value of coefficient of s to the power 1 on the left hand side and on the right hand side. So if I do that, what we will get, 2a zeta omega n plus c, this should be equated to, do we have any term of s to the power 1 on the right hand side? No term, hence we can write it as equal to 0. Hence c will be equal to what? Minus 2. A already we know its value is 1, so minus 2 zeta omega n. Also we can verify from here only that if I wanted to compare the coefficients of s to the power 0, then what would have got? A into omega n square, this will be equal to omega n square, and hence the value of a will be equal to 1. So again we can prove that value of a is equal to 1. Now I've got the values of a, b and c. I'll just substitute these values in this form so that it comes in the partial fraction form. So the value of a is what? A's values is 1, so it will become 1 by s. So my cs can be written as 1 by s plus bs plus c. So value of b is minus 1, so minus s, because it was bs, so it will become minus s, plus c. The value of c that we have got over here is minus 2 zeta omega n divided by s square plus 2 zeta omega n s plus omega n square. This is the cs term that we are finally getting. Okay. But now can you take the inverse Laplace transform of it? Because what is desired, हमको करना क्या है? We have to find the value of Ct. So in order to find the value of Ct, you have to take the inverse Laplace transform of this. And the inverse Laplace transform, to find it, you know that you have particular known functions for which you know what is the, you have got a table of Laplace inverse transform. So उस table से में जो known रहते हैं, आप उनके ही terms में जो Laplace equations आ रही हैं उनको convert करते हैं. Like you know that the inverse Laplace transform of 1 by s is ut, or you know that of 1 by s square it's rt. Okay, if this comes in the form of s plus a का whole square, तो इसमें क्या करते हैं, this is of the form this only, but if you have addition of a, then what you write, that it will be t into the e to the power minus at. तो जब भी अगर plus s plus something a square, then you will have e to the power minus at term. Similarly here I am having some square function. यहाँ पे quadratic function आ रहा है, but it's not a perfect square. Had this been, even if had this been like 1 upon s square, a upon s square plus a square, तो इसका लाप्लास इनवर्स ट्रांसफॉर्म आप क्या लिख सकते हैं, साइन ए टी. अगर ये ऐसा होता है s upon s square plus a square, then Laplace inverse transform would have been cos a t. So anyways you can see over here, you have to make this term in term, means you have to make this a perfect square. Then I think it would be of some help to us. Okay, so how to do that? We have got this term, that is s square plus 2 zeta omega n s plus omega n square. We have to convert this into perfect square. For perfect square, you know that s, like s plus a the whole square, it's equal to s square plus 2as plus a square. Okay, s square plus 2as plus a square. Here what we are having s square plus 2 zeta omega n s, and then we have got omega n square. What we want over here, we don't want this term, instead we want that it should be zeta omega n the whole square. अगर इसकी जगह ये टर्म आ जाएगा तो ये आपका परफेक्ट स्क्वायर बन जाएगा. ओके, अगर ये तब परफेक्ट स्क्वायर बन जाएगा तो बना देते हैं. हाउ टू डू इट? वी विल जस्ट डू दिस 2 zeta omega n s plus we'll add this zeta omega n whole square. So this will become perfect square of s plus zeta omega n, इसका पूरा square. But this term is not actually present in the original equation. It's not actually present. So I have to actually remove this. So in order to remove this, I will do minus of it. I just write minus zeta omega n square. If I do this, then this value is not actually present. ठीक है, ये प्रेजेंट नहीं है. बट हमारे पास ओरिजिनल इक्वेशन में क्या प्रेजेंट है? इट इज ओमेगा एन स्क्वायर. सो आई विल राइट दैट ओमेगा एन स्क्वायर ओवर हियर. ओके, अब इससे होगा क्या? जस्ट सी, दिस कंप्लीट टर्म हैज बिकम नाउ एस प्लस zeta omega n the whole square. Okay, and the rest of the term that I am having over here, I just take omega n square common, and then we can write it as 1 minus zeta square. So this is going to this is how the function is going to look like. If you already know all this, then don't you need not go through this. I'm doing it in great detail because I think some of the students, they might have problem understanding all this. Okay, you can skip this part if you already know it. So we'll get this term, or I can write the same thing as s plus zeta omega n the whole square plus omega n under root of 1 minus zeta square the whole square. अब ये आपका फंक्शन कैसा दिख रहा है? नाउ दिस फंक्शन इज लुकिंग समथिंग लाइक एस स्क्वायर प्लस सी स्क्वायर. अब आपका फंक्शन जो है वो एस स्क्वायर प्लस सी स्क्वायर टाइप के फॉर्म में आ रहा है. ऑफ कोर्स वी आर हैविंग सम एडिशन इन दिस एस स्क्वायर. दिस इज नॉट परफेक्ट एस स्क्वायर, इट्स एस प्लस बी समथिंग स्क्वायर. ठीक है, तो इट्स समथिंग एस प्लस बी स्क्वायर. अगर एस में कुछ एडिशन होगा तो उससे फंक्शन में बस इतना ही फर्क आएगा कि आपको e टू द पावर माइनस बी टी टर्म, जब आप लाप्लास इनवर्स ट्रांसफॉर्म करेंगे तो वहाँ पे आपको वो टर्म ऐड करना पड़ जाएगा. ओके, सो नाउ व्हाट वी कैन राइट, नाउ आई कैन राइट दिस टर्म सी एस. दिस वॉज 1 by s माइनस इन द न्यूमरेटर वी हैड s प्लस, न्यूमरेटर में हमारे पास क्या था? वी हैड, ओके, if I take minus common, then we had s plus 2 zeta omega n in the numerator. So I've taken minus as common, so this will be 2 zeta omega n. Okay, and in the denominator I will write it in this form. So we'll get s plus zeta omega n the whole square plus omega n under root of 1 minus zeta square का whole square. This is what I will get. Again, this now is coming some terms. अब हमारे पास न्यूमरेटर में कुछ वैल्यू है, डिनोमिनेटर में कुछ वैल्यू है. As I had already written over here, if you have something like s divided by s square plus a square, then that can be written as cos 80. And सपोज यू हैव सम s प्लस, अगर यहाँ पे आपका s प्लस बी डिवाइडेड बाय s प्लस बी द होल स्क्वायर प्लस a स्क्वायर होगा, तो इसका लाप्लास इनवर्स ट्रांसफॉर्म क्या हो जाएगा? फॉर दिस लाप्लास इनवर्स ट्रांसफॉर्म विल बी e टू द पावर माइनस बी टी कॉस 80. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे हमारे पास s प्लस जीटा ओमेगा एन टी, जीटा ओमेगा एन डिनोमिनेटर में है, न्यूमरेटर में भी हमको वही टर्म चाहिए इन ऑर्डर टू कन्वर्ट इनटू दिस फॉर्म दैट वी कैन इजीली डू. ओके, कैसे करेंगे? वी कैन राइट दिस एज 1 बाय एस माइनस एस प्लस जीटा ओमेगा एन डिवाइडेड बाय एस प्लस जीटा ओमेगा एन होल स्क्वायर प्लस ओमेगा एन अंडर रूट ऑफ 1 माइनस जी स्क्वायर का होल स्क्वायर. तो बचा हुआ टर्म क्या बचा है हमारे पास टर्म प्लस जीटा ओमेगा एन. तो दिस विल बी प्लस जीटा ओमेगा एन डिवाइडेड बाय अगेन एस प्लस जीटा ओमेगा एन होल स्क्वायर प्लस ओमेगा एन अंडर रूट ऑफ 1 माइनस जी स्क्वायर का होल स्क्वायर. दिस इज द कंप्लीट टर्म दैट वी आर गेटिंग नाउ. ओके, सो इसका लाप्लास इन्वर्स 1 और ut. इसका लाप्लास इन्वर्स क्या हो जाएगा? इसको आप कैसे लिख सकते हैं? ये जैसे बताया, इसका लाप्लास में आपका आ जाएगा e टू द पावर माइनस जीटा ओमेगा एन टी एंड देन मल्टीप्लाइड बाय कॉस ऑफ दिस a. सो कॉस ऑफ a इज व्हाट? ओमेगा एन अंडर रूट ऑफ 1 माइनस जी स्क्वायर टी. तो ये आपका इसका लाप्लास इन्वर्स आ गया. But again the third term that we are getting, it's zeta omega n divided by this. Okay, न्यूमरेटर में s की कोई भी वैल्यू नहीं है, मतलब आप इसको कन्वर्ट कर सकते हैं. तो इसको कन्वर्जन के लिए आपके पास ये ऑप्शन है a डिवाइड बाई एस स्क्वायर प्लस ए स्क्वायर. इसके फॉर्म में किसी तरीके से ले आइए वेयर यू कैन राइट लाइक हैड दिस बीन लाइक एस a डिवाइडेड बाई एस प्लस b का होल स्क्वायर प्लस ए स्क्वायर. तो इसको कैसे लिख सकते थे? इसको हम लिख सकते थे e टू द पावर माइनस बी टी साइन ए टी. ठीक है, तो हमको न्यूमरेटर में a चाहिए, डिनोमिनेटर में इस फॉर्म में हो तो इट विल बी फाइन. न्यूमरेटर वी वांट a. हियर a इज व्हाट? ओमेगा एन मल्टीप्लाइड बाय अंडर रूट ऑफ 1 माइनस जीटा स्क्वायर. हमारे पास न्यूमरेटर में क्या है? ओमेगा एन तो है बट ये टर्म नहीं है अंडर रूट ऑफ 1 माइनस जीटा स्क्वायर, और ये एक्स्ट्रा टर्म है जीटा. तो इसलिए इसको कैसे लिख सकते हैं? वी कैन सिंपली राइट दिस. अगेन आई एम राइटिंग. ओके, दिस विल बी कॉपीड ओवर हियर. सो वी कैन राइट दिस एज आई वांट दिस टर्म, आई just multiply this term over here. Okay, I'll just multiply this term over here. As I've multiplied it, this was not present initially, hence I will also divide it and also have this extra term that is zeta. And in the denominator what we are having, that is s plus zeta omega n the whole square plus omega n under root of 1 minus z square the whole square. Now we can see that now this complete term is in the same form as we were expecting it to be. Second term is also in the form that we were expecting it to be, and the first form we already have it. Now if I want to take the inverse Laplace, now I can easily take it. Okay, so finally if you want to write the inverse Laplace transform, it will become 1 by s 1 of course multiplied by ut minus इसका इनवर्स लाप्लास ट्रांसफॉर्म क्या हुआ? हमने अभी निकाला था e टू द पावर माइनस जीटा ओमेगा एन टी मल्टीप्लाइड बाय कॉस का फंक्शन है कॉस ओमेगा एन अंडर रूट ऑफ 1 माइनस जीटा स्क्वायर. दिस इज एक्चुअली a, okay, multiplied by t plus this is the third term. So this is the constant value, constant coefficient, इसको as it is लिख देते हैं यहाँ पे. This Laplace inverse of this will be what? e to the power minus zeta omega n t. ठीक है, बाकी का क्या होगा आपका sin t. तो sin omega n under root of 1 minus zeta square into t. This I can write it. Okay. Now from this complete equation, from this ये पूरा bracket में है. Okay, this is bracket. So this will become 1 minus, I can take e to the power minus zeta omega n t common. Also I can take this, I am taking this also out. So inside the bracket what we'll get under root of 1 minus zeta square into cos, okay, cos of this complete thing. Now this complete thing, that is omega n under root of 1 minus zeta square, instead of writing it again, I'll just represent it as omega d. So I can write it as omega dt plus zeta multiplied by sine omega dt. This is the equation. Now just see, what is this? Under root of 1 minus zeta square into cos something plus zeta into sine something. Initially when we had discussed in the starting only, when I was explaining this graph, we had taken a term phi over here, and the cos phi was found out to be equal to zeta, and sin phi was found out to be equal to under root of 1 minus zeta square. यहाँ पे क्या आ रहा है? यहाँ पे देखो, we have got under root of 1 minus zeta square, मतलब ये हम sin phi लिख सकते हैं, एंड zeta इसको हम cos phi लिख सकते हैं. So this is something coming out to be sin A cos B plus cos A sin B. What is sin A cos B plus cos A sin B? It's sin A plus B. ठीक है, जहाँ पे A की वैल्यू है, where we are having two different angles. We are talking about two different angles. We are talking about phi and we are talking about omega t. So this again I can write as 1 minus e to the power minus zeta omega nt divided by under root of 1 minus zeta square sin a plus b. So a I can write as कोई भी a लिख सकते हैं. So sin omega dt plus the other angle is what? Phi. And what is phi? Phi is nothing but tan inverse of, ऊपर निकाला था, under root of 1 minus zeta square divided by zeta. This is the final equation that you are getting. This is the value of CT. In terms of CT, if you want to find out, you wanted to find out कि आपका step response क्या आएगा for second order system, this is the final equation that you are getting, and this is the most important equation, because based on this equation only you make all the other calculations. So this is very 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 important equation. ठीक है, लेकिन अब इसमें से समझ क्या आ रहा है? The important thing is that what are you getting from it. So just see, I can break this equation down. I'll do the analysis of this one. I'll quickly do the analysis of this one. We have got terms over here. Our first term, I can say that we have got 1. I can represent it as CT1 minus, we have got another term over here which is in time domain and multiplied by some constant. So I've got some constant 1 by zeta square multiplied by some function of time. So this function of time I can write it as CT2. It's exponential term which is varying with time. Third term again we are getting, which is again a function of time. So this is sine with a function of time plus this is some constant value. Okay, this is angle phi. So some phase addition is given to the sine. So this I can write it as CT3. तो हमारे पास एक CT की इक्वेशन आई है. वो इक्वेशन इस तरीके से है that it is the subtraction of one constant value minus some exponential value multiplied by sinusoidal value. ये आपका overall CT का value आ रहा है. Okay, so we have got, I can break this down into three values of time. Now CT1 is just a constant, मतलब UT है, it's just a constant value. So with respect to time I can plot it like this. This is my CT1. Okay, this is my CT1. Okay. Now if I want to plot CT2, you have got the second term which is being subtracted from this first term. So you have to plot the second and the third term. Second term is what? E to the power minus theta omega n t. ठीक है, इसका प्लॉट कैसा आएगा? इसका प्लॉट आएगा this is my ct2 and it is e to the power minus something. Okay, so exponentially decaying term, if we want to plot it with respect to time, this will be exponentially decaying in nature. At t equal to 0, if you substitute value of t as equal to 0 here, e to the power minus 0 मतलब कितना हो जाएगा, this will become e to the power minus 0 का मतलब 1. ठीक है, तो ये वैल्यू आपकी आ जाएगी at t equal to 0, this will be equal to 1, and at t equal to infinite if you substitute, this will decay to 0. So this is the exponential decreasing curve of CT2. Similarly, अगर अब मुझे चाहिए CT3, ठीक है, अब मैं प्लॉट करना चाहती हूँ CT3. What is CT3? CT3 is this term, sin omega dt plus tan inverse or plus phi. Phi we are writing it as that. Okay. Now this ये जो आपका है ये साइनसोइडल फंक्शन है. अगर नॉर्मली हम बनाते साइनसोइडल तो उसमें ओरिजिन जो होता है वो 0 से जाता है एंड इट वुड हैव बीन समथिंग लाइक दिस, बट वी हैव अ फेज एडिशन ओवर हियर. If we are having a phase addition over here, that means that the sine is starting from some phase ahead. Okay, इसमें phase addition हुआ है, तो ये अब आपका जो साइन का वैल्यू आएगा ये इस तरीके से आएगा. जो साइन कर्व, this is a sine curve with some phase addition which is phi. So this will be your CT3 with respect to time. Okay, and we also have this multiplication of this with under root of 1 minus zeta square. यहाँ पे ये भी वैल्यू मल्टीप्लाई हो रही है. अब अगर मैं अगर देखना चाहती हूँ कि एट t इक्वल टू 0, जब हमारी टाइम की वैल्यू 0 है, तो ये जो है साइन इसका वैल्यू कितना आएगा, तो हमारे पास बचे हुए टर्म्स अभी क्या आ रहे हैं. टाइम इक्वल t इक्वल टू 0 वी हैव ऑलरेडी ड्रॉन फॉर दिस एक्सपोनेंशियली डीकेइंग. तो हमारे पास t इक्वल टू 0 पे बचेगा दिस omega dt, this will become 0, so we will get only sin phi divided by under root of 1 minus zeta square. Sin phi divided by under root of 1 minus zeta square. 1 minus zeta square क्या है? This is nothing but sin phi only. Hence at t equal to 0, this value, the complete second term that we are getting over here, that will become equal to 1. So at t equal to 0, इसका जो मैग्नीट्यूड आ रहा है ये भी आपका 1 ही आ रहा है. ओके, आई थिंक यू गेट इट. हमको ये पूरे इक्वेशन को प्लॉट करना था. ये जो पूरा इक्वेशन है, ये पूरा जो टर्म आ रहा है, सॉरी एक्सप्रेशन जो है, इसको प्लॉट करना था. हमने इसको प्लॉट कर लिया, हमने इसको प्लॉट कर लिया विद दिस कांस्टेंट. So at t equal to 0, we are getting sinusoidal value, and t equal to 0, this value is equal to 1, and this sine value is varying, and it is having a phase addition of phi over here. Now in the expression what do we have? We have the multiplication of these two terms. हमारा ये दोनों का multiplication होना है. ठीक है, हमको अगर इन दोनों को multiply करना है, that means you have to multiply this graph with this graph. So we are having this value of sine which is on the negative axis also, it's lying on the negative side also, but this exponential value, it's 0 on the negative hand side. Okay, so when we are going to plot it, जब हम इसको plot करेंगे, तो जब हम plot करेंगे तो हमारे पास नेगेटिव साइड में यहाँ पे कुछ भी वैल्यू नहीं आएगी, इट विल बी 0 only. At t equal to 0, now I am plotting for this complete term, that is CT2 multiplied by CT3, उसको plot कर रहे हैं. ठीक है, we are trying to analyze it through graph कि हमको output कैसा दिखेगा. तो अगर इसको और इसको multiply करेंगे at t equal to 0, दोनों का वैल्यू कितना है? दोनों का वैल्यू है equal to 1. तो ये दोनों आपका आउटपुट जो आएगा वो आ जाएगा 1. After this, after t equal to after t greater than 0 this value is decreasing. आपका वैल्यू e to the power वाला जो है वो डिक्रीज हो रहा है, वो 1 से कम हो रहा है. यहाँ पे ये इंक्रीज हो रहा है, लेकिन अगर ये 1 से कम है तो डेफिनेटली इन दोनों का मल्टीप्लिकेशन करेंगे. इवन इफ दिस इज ग्रेटर देन 1 एंड दिस इज लेस देन 1, यू कैन ट्राई इट फॉर योर ओन. कोई भी ऐसी वैल्यू जो 1 से ग्रेटर है और 1 से लेस, अगर आप उसको मल्टीप्लाई करेंगे इट विल कम आउट टू बी लेस देन 1 ओनली. ओके, सो इफ यू मल्टीप्लाई दीज टू इट विल कम आउट टू बी लेस देन 1 and hence the graph will start decreasing. It will decrease. Okay, जैसे जैसे ये डिक्रीज हो रहा है इसको मल्टीप्लाई करते जाएंगे टाइम की ईच वैल्यू के साथ, सो इट विल कीप ऑन डिक्रीजिंग एज दिस गोज इन नेगेटिव. सपोज यहाँ पे कहीं पे इसका मल्टीप्लिकेशन हो रहा है, दिस वैल्यू एंड दिस वैल्यू, सो बोथ दीज वैल्यू विल गेट मल्टीप्लाइड बट दिस इज गोइंग इन नेगेटिव डायरेक्शन, हेंस द आउटपुट विल ऑल्सो go in the negative direction. Then this, as this is going positive, this will also go in positive. बट जैसे जैसे ये वैल्यू कम होती जा रही है, यहाँ पे भी आपको जो आउटपुट में वैल्यू आएगी वो कम होती चली जाएगी. एंड एज दिस बिकम्स इक्वल टू 0, तो यहाँ पे ये जो आउटपुट आएगा ये भी आपको इस तरीके से 0 मिलेगा. ठीक है, तो आपको एक्चुअली में यू शुड वर्टिकली see this, you should plot this and you should plot this, and with exactly same time में क्या क्या वैल्यू मल्टीप्लाई हो रही है आप उसको exactly प्लॉट करेंगे, तो आपको जो कर्व आएगा that will be the multiplication of these two curves and will look somewhat like this only. Okay, this is having the same frequency. इसका और इसका फ्रीक्वेंसी, जो आपको साइन में फ्रीक्वेंसी मिल रही है आप वही टर्म्स को मल्टीप्लाई कर रहे हैं. जब आपका साइन का वैल्यू यहाँ पे नेगेटिव जा रहा है तभी आपका यहाँ पे ग्राफ का वैल्यू भी नेगेटिव जा रहा है. जब ये पॉजिटिव जा रहा है तब ये भी पॉजिटिव जा रहा है. सो द फ्रीक्वेंसी ऑफ दिस एंड दिस इज एग्जैक्टली द सेम. इट्स द सेम फ्रीक्वेंसी. नाउ दिस इज नॉट द फाइनल आउटपुट ग्राफ. ये तो आपने जो सेकेंड टर्म आ रहा था इसको मल्टीप्लाई किया है, हमने अभी यही निकाला है. दिस टर्म वी हैव फिगर्ड इट आउट. नाउ द आउटपुट दैट विल बी गेटिंग इट्स एक्चुअली 1 माइनस दिस कंप्लीट टर्म. ओके, तो अब हमारे पास ये जो हमारा कर्व आया है इसको हमको 1 से माइनस करना पड़ेगा. ओके, वी हैव टू सब्ट्रैक्ट इट फ्रॉम 1. तो ये आपका 1 है. This is your CT1. You have to subtract this graph from this graph. तो अगर आप फिर से, if I just make the final graph, I want to make the final graph. Okay. Then at t equal to 1, when the value of t is at t equal to 0, this value is 1. This value is also 1, so this value will be equal to what? Well, it will be equal to 0. When t is increasing, जैसे जैसे t increase कर रहा है, this value is decreasing. यहाँ से value आपकी decrease कर रही है. This is constant only. तो this अगर ये suppose 0.8 हो गया, then this is 1. 1 minus 0.8. 1 minus 0.8 is 0.2. तो आपका आउटपुट आ जाएगा 0.2. वैसे ही यहाँ पे सपोज 0.6 हो गया, यहाँ पे 1 ही है, तो आउटपुट आपका आ जाएगा 0.4. सिमिलरली आप जैसे जैसे यहाँ पे इसकी वैल्यू डिक्रीज होती जाएगी, यहाँ पे आकर के दिस वैल्यू इज रिड्यूस टू 0, बट दिस इज वैल्यू इज 1 ओनली, सो 1 माइनस 0 इट विल कम अप टू 1. ये सपोज हम ग्राफ बना देते हैं 1 का, तो इट विल कम अप टू 1. आफ्टर दिस व्हाट्स हैपनिंग, this is going in the negative direction, so 1 minus, then this is going in the negative direction, suppose minus 2, so minus of minus 2 it will become 1.2. तो अब आपका ग्राफ जो है यहाँ से शूट आउट करने लग गया. ये आपका 1 था यहाँ पे, अब यहाँ से 1 से ऊपर जाने लगेगा. जैसे यहाँ पे ये वैल्यू सपोज यहाँ पे आई है इट्स 0.4, so this will go up to 1.4. आपका आउटपुट जो है वो 1.4 तक चला जाएगा. After this value is decreasing, hence this will also now start decreasing. At this value has become equal to 0, 1 minus 0, it will be 1. again it's increasing in the positive direction, this will now start decreasing. लेकिन फिर से जैसे यहाँ पे 0 पे आएगी फिर से 1 पे आएगा. तो इस तरीके से अगर एक एक पॉइंट पे हम प्लॉट करेंगे तो आउटपुट जो आपका आएगा, फाइनल आउटपुट CT, इट विल लुक समथिंग लाइक दिस. Okay, and at t equal to infinite, we call that t equal to infinite, this second term that you are getting, that has reduced to 0. Hence at t equal to infinite, this CT value is becoming equal to 1. Okay, and when we say that input is actually responsible for the forced response, जो आप input देते हैं वो forced response कहलाता है. अब यहाँ पे ये ग्राफ से आपको क्या समझ में आ रहा है कि यहाँ पे ट्रांजिएंट पार्ट कौन सा है, स्टेडी स्टेट पार्ट कौन सा है, या फिर फोर्स्ड रिस्पॉन्स कौन सा है, नेचुरल रिस्पॉन्स कौन सा है. तो यहाँ से मैं बता देती हूँ, जहाँ तक आपका सिस्टम ऑसिलेट कर रहा है या फिर जब तक आपका फाइनल स्टेडी स्टेट रीच नहीं किया है, वहाँ तक आप बोलते हैं दिस इज द ट्रांजिएंट पार्ट और दिस इज द नेचुरल रिस्पॉन्स ऑफ द सिस्टम. ओके, एंड एज सून एज द सिस्टम इज गेटिंग फाइनल वैल्यू, जो एक स्टेडी स्टेट वैल्यू रीच करने लगा, वहाँ से बोलते हैं दिस इज योर फोर्स्ड रिस्पॉन्स, दिस इज द फोर्स्ड रिस्पॉन्स, or this is the steady state value. Okay, and we said that forced response is actually due to the input. जो आप input देते हैं उसकी वजह से आपको forced response आता है. तो यहाँ forced response की वैल्यू कितनी आ रही है, फाइनल वैल्यू कितनी आ रही है, 1. इनपुट आपने क्या दिया था, 1. आपका इनपुट और जो आपने आउटपुट देख रहे हैं, दे आर रिलेटिंग, दिस इज द फाइनल स्टेडी स्टेट वैल्यू. नाउ व्हाट इफ मैंने यहाँ पे UT नहीं दिया होता, अगर मैंने आउटपुट में ये जो आउटपुट जो था वहाँ पे 1/s नहीं देते, यूनिट स्टेप जो हमने दिया था UT की जगह सपोज मैं 2UT दे देती, तो फर्स्ट टर्म आपका जो आता वो क्या आता है, 2/s आता. ठीक है, 2/s आता, और उसका अगर हम लाप्लास इन्वर्स लेते तो वो वापस से यही आपका 2UT आता. ठीक है, अगर ये 2 आता तो हम इस समय उस जो आउटपुट आता उसको 2 से माइनस करते रहते, 2 से माइनस करते, अल्टीमेटली हमारा ये वैल्यू जो है ये आपका 2 रहता है. एंड जो आपको आउटपुट यहाँ पे दिख रहा है वो 1 नहीं, वो 2 के अबाउट ऑसिलेट करता. ओके, यहाँ पे आपका आउटपुट जो है आप 2 से माइनस करेंगे तो 2 से ओवरशूट करेगा, उसके अबाउट ऑसिलेट करेगा, एंड फाइनल स्टेडी स्टेट वैल्यू भी हमको यहाँ पे 2 ही मिलती है. Okay, so actually whatever input you are applying, your system should act according to that input only. जो आप input यूज़ कर रहे हैं उसके अकॉर्डिंग आपका सिस्टम एक्ट करता है. जो इनिशियली ऑसिलेशंस आते हैं वो आपके सिस्टम में ऑलरेडी अगर कोई एनर्जी स्टोरिंग एलिमेंट्स है उनकी वजह से सिस्टम में हमेशा ऑसिलेशन आते हैं. Okay, and we can also see that the frequency of the transient oscillation is damped. यहाँ पे जो frequency है ये आपकी damped frequency आ रही है. ठीक है, it's a damped frequency, and हमने जो ऊपर में ओमेगा एक टर्म हमने लिखा था, we actually had written omega t which was equal to omega n under root of 1 minus zeta square. So this term is known as damped frequency of oscillation. This is known as damped frequency of oscillation. देखिए, हमने सिस्टम में क्योंकि डैम्पिंग अप्लाई कर दी है, इसलिए जो यहाँ पे आपको फ्रीक्वेंसी ऑफ ऑसिलेशन भी होगा वो आपका डैम्प्ड फ्रीक्वेंसी ऑफ ऑसिलेशन कहलाएगा. नाउ इफ़ यू वांट टू फाइंड आउट व्हाट इज़ द टाइम कांस्टेंट, अगर सिस्टम का टाइम कांस्टेंट पता करना है तो टाइम कांस्टेंट पता करने का सबसे अच्छा मेथड यही है कि यू फाइंड आउट द रेसिप्रोकल ऑफ द रियल पार्ट ऑफ द पोल दैट यू हैव. So we had 2 poles in the system. One was lying at minus omega, zeta omega and plus minus omega and under root 1 minus z square. And so 2 poles were lying complex conjugate pole. But दोनों का ही real part जो था वो lie कर रहा था zeta omega and okay. So the time constant for this system will be 1 divided by zeta omega n. This is going to be the time constant for the system. Another thing that we can define the error for the system. Now error for any system is defined as the difference between the input and the output that we get. Input that we have applied is ut, and the output that you have got is ut1 minus e to the power something divided by something multiplied by sine into something. तो यहाँ से ये कैंसिल हो जाएगा, तो आपका ये जो टर्म आ रहा है दिस विल बी एक्चुअली दिस इज व्हाट e टू द पावर माइनस जीटा ओमेगा एन टी अंडर रूट ऑफ 1 माइनस जी स्क्वायर साइन ऑफ ओमेगा डी टी प्लस फाई. This is going to be the error of this system, and you have already seen that at t equal to infinite this error is reducing to 0. ठीक है, तो जब आपका फाइनल स्टेडी स्टेट में हमारा सिस्टम रीच कर रहा है उस केस में सिस्टम में सेकेंड ऑर्डर सिस्टम में कोई भी एरर नहीं है. फाइन. अब एक और चीज़ देख लेते हैं. व्हाट इफ वी हैव केप्ट द वैल्यू kept the value of zeta between 0 and 1. This was the value of zeta. What if the value of zeta if we substitute it as equal to 0? मतलब क्या अगर हम लोग सिस्टम में कोई भी डैम्पिंग प्रोवाइड नहीं करेंगे उस केस में हमारा आउटपुट क्या आएगा? उस केस में हमने आउटपुट ऑलरेडी निकाल के रखा है, तो दैट विल बी इक्वल टू 1 माइनस e to the power this same thing. ओके, बट वी आर कीपिंग जीटा वैल्यू एज इक्वल टू 1. तो ये कितना हो जाएगा? सॉरी, वी आर कीपिंग द जीटा वैल्यू एज इक्वल टू 0. तो e टू द पावर 0 विल बिकम 1 डिवाइडेड बाय अंडर रूट ऑफ 1 माइनस जीटा की वैल्यू हम रख रहे हैं 0 इंटू साइन. ओके, साइन ओमेगा डी क्या है? ओमेगा एन अंडर रूट ऑफ 1 माइनस 0 स्क्वायर टी प्लस फाई कितना होता है? tan इनवर्स ऑफ अंडर रूट ऑफ 1 माइनस 0 डिवाइडेड बाय 0. तो अगर हम जीटा की वैल्यू 0 रखते हैं उस केस में सी टी का वैल्यू ये आता है. इसका क्या मतलब है? 1 माइनस 1 इंटू साइन ओमेगा एन प्लस tan इनवर्स 1 डिवाइडेड बाय 0 मतलब कितना हो जाएगा? दिस विल बिकम 90 डिग्री. ठीक है, दिस विल बिकम 90 डिग्री. साइन ओमेगा एन टी प्लस 90 डिग्री कितना होता है? कॉस 90. सो द आउटपुट विल बी 1 माइनस कॉस ओमेगा एन टी. आउटपुट विल बी इक्वल टू 1 माइनस कॉस ओमेगा एन टी. नाउ आई विल क्विकली मेक द ग्राफ फॉर दिस वन. ओके, कॉस ओमेगा एन टी और 1 इन दोनों को सब्ट्रैक्ट करना है. सो हियर वी हैव दिस आई कैन राइट एज CT1, दिस आई कैन राइट एज CT2. सो CT1 का ग्राफ ऐसा दिखेगा, CT2 का ग्राफ कैसा दिखेगा? इट विल बी कॉस. ओके, दिस इज द ग्राफ फॉर कॉस. दिस इज योर CT2. तो अगर हम अब इसमें 1 से इसको माइनस कर रहे हैं, 1 माइनस दिस थिंग इफ यू आर डूइंग इट, सो 1 माइनस दिस 1 माइनस दिस, इट विल बी. इसको और नीचे ले लेते हैं. ओके, so if I want to find out the final CT value, 1 माइनस दिस कॉस 0 पे 1 होगा. सॉरी, t इक्वल टू 0 कॉस 0 इट्स गोइंग टू बी 1 माइनस 1 विल बी इक्वल टू 0. सो एट t इक्वल टू 0 दिस वैल्यू इज 0. देन 1 माइनस दिस समथिंग जो कि 1 से कम है, तो यहाँ पे आपका आउटपुट बढ़ेगा. दिस इज अगेन डिक्रीजिंग. ओके, तो इसको पॉइंट में देख लेते हैं. नाउ दिस इज डिक्रीजिंग, so this will keep on increasing. ये आपका ग्राफ इंक्रीज करेगा. now this is going in the negative direction. ये आपका ग्राफ नेगेटिव में जा रहा है. तो अभी यहाँ पे 1 माइनस ऑफ माइनस समथिंग, So this will go in the positive direction. This will go in the positive direction, and as this decreases from here, this will also start decreasing from here. It will again come at 0.1. जैसे अगर हम इसको 1 मान लेते हैं, this is 1. Then दिस वैल्यू ये 1 से -1 तक गया था, तो यहाँ पे मैक्सिमम वैल्यू आपकी 2 आएगी. सो दिस शूट्स फ्रॉम, इट गोज फ्रॉम 0 to 1, shoots to 2, come back to 1. Again it will come at here, this point, this will reduce to 0. Again it will increase, decrease, something like this. Okay, so the system is behaving in oscillatory nature. It's oscillating about its final steady state position. जो फाइनल स्टेडी स्टेट पोजीशन आना था, क्योंकि हमने इनपुट 1 दिया था, दैट वाज द फाइनल स्टेडी स्टेट पोजीशन. लेकिन ये सिस्टम उस पर सेटल नहीं करता है, ये उसके अबाउट ऑसिलेट कर रहा है. वाई? बिकॉज वी हैव केप्ट द डैम्पिंग. जीटा की वैल्यू हमने 0 रखा है. वी कॉल दिस एज द डैम्पिंग फैक्टर. डैम्पिंग फैक्टर हमने इसे कहा था. ओके, and here we are seeing that this is oscillating, and it is oscillating with the frequency as omega n. This is the undamped natural frequency of oscillation when the damping is decreased to 0. And always remember that omega d, जो हमने damped frequency of oscillation की बात की थी, that is written as omega n 1 minus z square. So this value is always going to be less than this omega n. Omega d की वैल्यू हमेशा आपकी omega n से कम ही होगी. And as we increase zeta, जैसे जैसे आप zeta को बढ़ाते जाएंगे, वैसे वैसे सिस्टम का फ्रीक्वेंसी और कम होता जाएगा. And as you increase the zeta at equal to 1 and greater than 1, तो आपके सिस्टम में पूरी तरीके से ऑसिलेशंस जो है वो खत्म हो जाएंगे, एंड सिस्टम विल बी, इट वोंट ऑसिलेट एट ऑल, एंड हेंस दैट सिस्टम विल बी नोन एज ओवर डैम्ड और क्रिटिकली डैम्ड सिस्टम. Okay, so today we will conclude this class over here only. In the next class I will take the case of critically damped and over damped system, and I will explain it with help of an example, a practical example. If you have any doubts and queries, then please do ask me. Thank you very much for listening to this. Thank you.